Hello guys, thank you for tuning in. This is my 2008 or 2009, crap I forgot, Cayenne S, and this is gonna be part 3 of this series where I try to diagnose the fuel delivery related problem. And if you're new to my channel, please feel free to see the previous 2 parts of this series to get an idea what's happening with the car. But for all of you who follows, that's the package I received, which is pretty, I would say fairly expensive, but I hope that my educated guess led me to the right conclusion, and the conclusion is the replacement of the high pressure fuel pump, because during the rapid acceleration the car jerking, speeding, sputting, whatever. And as you remember, we checked the fuel pressure in the tank, so the low level fuel pressure. We also checked the high pressure fuel level after the pump, and concluded that the pump doesn't do its job properly. And hopefully our tests were performed correctly. Otherwise it's like $1,200 spent up to the wind. So I'm gonna try to get slightly more access to the pump. It's right in there, by removing this part. And if I'm not mistaken, to get this part off I need to get everything starting from here. During the course of the testing I opened this box like gazillion times, and again we're gonna remove the relays for the fuel pumps and start the car, just to remove any fuel pressure in the lines. We don't want the fuel shooting everywhere. Foot on the brake, start and die. Alright, all good. Now it's time actually to remove this puppy. I'm gonna open the new pump to get an idea where all the kind of bolts are or nuts, whatever is holding it, and we'll go from there. And this is the part number for the pump. I bought it from Porsche. This time buying the part from the dealer actually cost me about $300 less than if I would purchase it from the FCP Euro. So that's why I didn't go that route this time. And Porsche dealer charged me, I guess, $200 as the core, like for the core. So once I'm gonna remove it, I'm gonna bring it back to the dealer, while FCP Euro, I guess, like $400 or $500 for the core, which is refundable. But anyway, so this is how the pump is being installed in the back of the engine. And so you can see all 3 bolts, 1, 2 and 3 are, actually, let me take it back. 2 bolts are fairly accessible, and I'm gonna see how it's gonna go with the bolt number 3, which is in the bottom. Unfortunately, this is the type of the video where you cannot see, or I cannot shoot the video so you can see everything. So on that one I'm gonna replace it off camera, and I'm gonna point just couple observations in case I'll have any. So sorry for that, guys, but yeah, if something interesting gonna arise, I'm gonna show it to you. I would say conservatively it took me maybe half an hour to get this old pump out, and I'll try to present you how it looks like when it's installed in the car. So check this out. So this is the exact position how the pump is connected to the rear part of the engine. The left hole of the pump, the left side is being connected to the engine, let's say just with this screw. The bottom and the right side are being connected with this extension screw, just like this. And in the back of the extension screw there is the bracket, which goes through here, and there is one more anchoring point on the engine. I released this third point, but I didn't remove it completely. It was enough to put the bracket out of the way. Otherwise it would be the total pain to put this bolt, the third bolt holding the bracket, in place. It's very inconvenient place, but that's how it looks now. So this is the shaft of the pump. There is like a coupling or socket, or I don't know, clutch. Probably it's a socket, you want to call it. So those prongs on the socket goes into the kind of openings in the camshaft, and that's how it's being driven. I don't know why they didn't do it directly, why they needed this like intermediate piece, but whatever. So this intermediate piece is being held inside the camshaft by this plug. So this plug inserts into this hole and goes all the way to the camshaft. This is what left from this plug. It is just a cap pretty much. So when I removed the pump, only the cap of this plug went out with the socket, which means the rest of the plug, which is very, very brittle, the rest of the plug is still sitting in the camshaft. Per my understanding, this plug is only being used to initially secure this socket in the camshaft while you're installing the pump. So technically, I think theoretically, if you can manage to install the pump without socket falling off, you can stick without this plug. But since there are still remainders of the plug inside the camshaft, I need somehow to fish them out. I don't want them to break and disintegrate inside the valve cover. So that's that. I'll try to use some picks maybe or something to take it out from there. By the way, it's very easy to remove this wiring harness, even if it's connected in the very bottom of the pump. You can do it after you remove the pump. So there is a slack of the wires. You don't need to reach there and try to disconnect it. You can do it once the pump is halfway out, which is very convenient. So that's that. Probably you can see something now through the mirror. So there is the black center, which is the remainders of this cap, which I think I need to fish out. Of course, I can try to install it without the center cap. It's probably gonna take much more finagling, but I'm afraid this part can disintegrate and simply fall inside the valve cover, and that's not good. I was able to retrieve the cover, you know, piece by piece using the shop vac, and I added this like a hose, and I was sucking the remainders of this plug piece by piece right from there. And I know one of my picks flew somewhere down there. I need to retrieve it, but right now I'm gonna take this socket, I'm gonna take this new plug, install this socket. By the way, it was fairly easy to unscrew the old pump, but one of the fuel lines, I don't know if it was like high probably it was a low pressure, yeah, because there is the rubber hose. So low pressure fuel line access was slightly, you know, unreachable, so I used this contraption to be able to get to the nut holding the fuel line in place. So right now this is gonna go there. I still don't know why they need a plug. Is it simply to secure it on the camshaft, or maybe I don't know, very weird. So this is the camshaft stopper part number. Keep in mind, with a discount I paid 50 or maybe even 52, or you know, above $50 for this pan cap. That's ridiculous. What another interesting point, the similar pump for Audi, let's say Audi, I don't know, S4, looks very similar. Goes like for a couple $100, $300. This one slightly more expensive, only $1,000 with the discount. So this how this contraption looks like. I'm not sure if I'll be able to install with the camera in one hand. Even without the camera it's not very convenient to do. I know that I found those grooves. You see it started to go, but it's this plug doesn't want to go all the way in. Probably another ½ inch left, so I'll try to do it like with two hands. Sorry guys, but you get the idea. I used what is it, 14mm socket simply to push it in. Now the plug is sit tight, the socket doesn't move, doesn't wiggle. This thing what wiggles here, but socket right there sits tight. And I'm gonna take the new pump, I'm gonna lubricate the, you know, the O-ring around to make it slightly simpler to install, and fingers crossed everything gonna go as smooth as during the disassembly. So just finished buttoning up the pump in place. I didn't record it, but I did it twice because first time I put this wiring underneath the pump, which is incorrect, and I couldn't get this plug to connect to this guy, so I needed to remove the pump to find the correct way of putting the wires. So that's that. Plus it was the bear to put a bolt in the lower mounting point underneath the pump. Took probably 10 minutes until I got this hole. So as of now, looks like I didn't forget anything. 2 fuel lines, inlet and outlet, are connected. Connector is connected, and we need to install those relays back in place. Also, don't forget to remind me that I lost one of the picks somewhere inside the engine bay. So I'll need to retrieve it. But right now, nothing in here. Let's remove that. Let's start the car, if it's gonna start, hopefully, fingers crossed, and see if it starts to begin with. Come on, come on, come on, come on. All right. I read online that I'm gonna need to drive the car for a while, so adaptations, get back where they're supposed to be. I don't have the tester to reset the adaptations, but I'm gonna observe the leaks in case there are any, and I'm gonna put this cowling back in place, and then I'm gonna take it for a drive just to see how it runs. Alright, it's the next day. Yesterday I spent trying to get the pick from the dark hole of the engine bay, and today finally we can do the test drive to see if the repair was successful. And let's see how's gonna be the cold start. Previously the engine cranked probably for about 2 seconds, to start. Let's see if anything changed. About the same, maybe a second. So there is no significant change in terms of how the engine starts. All right, let me pull to the road and we'll see how it goes. Pulling to the road. Okay, no cars on the left. Fingers crossed. Oh yeah, total difference. So let me do the manual mode, and let's say right now it's the 4th gear. The RPMs are slightly below 2000, so it's 1800. Hold a second. 4th gear, 1800 RPM, and pedal to the metal. Okay, let me do the manual mode, total manual mode. We don't need this. Okay, 4th gear, 1800 RPMs, pedal to the metal. There is no bucking, there is nothing. Very smooth. absolutely totally fixed, so there were no need to drive it for, you know, whatever amount of miles or kilometers. So the pumps works instantly without you know, adaptation reset or something. So I need to congratulate myself, I guess, with the repair. And unfortunately this repair work was kind of pricey. I'll get a couple $100 back for my core pump when I'm gonna return it back to the dealer, but you know, still we are roughly at about $1,100 for the pump and this white, you know, plug. It's literally 25% of what I paid for the car. Yeah, no problems. Absolutely great. So the chase for P1027 code was successful. I'm not sure why I didn't get the codes, like for a low fuel pressure or something. It was just the code for the pressure difference between the actual pressure value and set pressure value. This is a sorted car now, and now I'm gonna, you know, buff it a little bit. I'm gonna do the headlights because they're, you know, quite foggy. Need some polishing, buffing and sealing, and I'm gonna probably put this car for sale. I drove it for a few months. I'm gonna probably remove this protective tape here. It's kind of ugly, as well as from this mirror. I removed the tape from the left mirror, came out great. So PPF was removed here. I need to do some final cleaning in here, and then that's it pretty much. Also, I'm gonna put a new trim on the bumper, but besides that, it's gonna go, huh? And of course, almost, if not brand new tires. August of 2020. And since this car is gonna be going, I went ahead and purchased another project. My favorite flat car. I didn't attempt to start it yet, but in my next video I'm gonna show you the history of this car and we'll attempt to start it. Guys, thank you so much for watching my videos. Hopefully this series, this video series for Cayenne was helpful to someone who is getting the same codes. I didn't find much information online about 1027 code. There were a bunch of information of 1026, 1021 code, but not to 1027. So hopefully it's gonna help someone, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care.